What's up, guys? Lance the Obscure Movie Guy coming to you once again, and I don't have a completely blank background this time. I at least put up my Freddy and my Darth Vader, one of many Darth Vaders. But coming at you again with another video, and this one is going to focus on some more miscasts. Now, a couple of months ago, the Snake Eyes trailer dropped, and it's starring Henry Golding, who is made famous from Crazy Rich Asians. And at the time, it got me thinking about, one, how I didn't buy Henry Golding as Snake Eyes, and I don't. But it also got me thinking about other Hollywood miscasts. So I did a video on how Josh Brolin didn't make a very good Cable for Deadpool 2. And I still stand by that. But I also stand by my previous statement with Henry Golding not being a good Snake Eyes. And today we're going to focus on that since the movie has just come out this past week. And the reviews are in. And I was right. It's awful. Just as I suspected it would be. So let's get one thing straight. I don't want to take anything away from Henry Golding's ability to act. He also put a lot of effort into this movie as far as... actually did a lot of training with the sword that Snake Eyes uses in the film and through all of his history. So he did do a lot of training with that and did put a lot of effort into doing a lot of the own choreographed sword fighting for the movie. So I don't want to take anything away from that. He did put a lot of effort into it. Henry Golding actually is a very good actor. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think he's actually above Snake Eyes. He is... And I don't want to take anything away from Snake Eyes because he's such a beloved character, but Henry Golding is more sophisticated than what Snake Eyes is as a character. But to be fair, the movie in and of itself is not very good. It was very poorly written. It's got a lot of cringeworthy dialogue. It feels like a lot of the things were forced. And it just like all the other G.I. Joe movies that I'm unfortunately have to say, they missed the mark real bad. So let's go back real quick and take a look at Snake Eyes, the 2021 film. So basically, as it goes, for the film, as a young boy, he is orphaned when his father is murdered, and years later the boy has grown into a talented and deadly martial arts fighter, driven by the desire to avenge his father's death. And to conceal his true identity, he calls himself Snake Eyes, a name inspired by watching his father's murderer force him to roll a pair of dice to determine his fate, and his father was killed when he rolled double ones. Years later, he's discovered in an underground Los Angeles fighting circuit by a wealthy Yakuza boss named Kenta, and Kenta offers to find his father's killer if Snake Eyes will work for him. And when Snake Eyes is asked to prove his loyalty by shooting a man who betrayed Kenta's trust, Snake Eyes refuses and instead helps the guy escape. So the traitor is Kenta's cousin Tommy, and Tommy and Kenta were both in line to lead the Arashikaji clan, an ancient ninja society devoted to preserving order and fighting evil. So that's the gist of the movie, and while some parts of it look kind of cool, it hasn't done well in the box office. In fact, it was budgeted for like $88 million, not to mention like another 5 to 10 on international promotioning for the movie. So you're talking roughly somewhere between $95 and $98 million worth of product, and it only brought in $13.3 million in its first 3 opening days. Finished second to M. Night Shyamalan's Old, and if you know anything about M. Night Shyamalan, his movies are garbage too. Anyways, that's another story for another day. But anyways, in its first 3 days, it's done $13.3 million, and it is not on its way to hitting its budget. Now, years past, the other 2 G.I. Joe movies were budgeted for more, but actually did turn a profit, even though they didn't turn out to be like the mega blockbusters that they wanted. But that being said, again, a lot of the movie's dialogue is very cringeworthy. And they kind of did like a Suicide Squad bait and switch type thing. It's called Snake Eyes, and if you're going into this movie wanting to see Snake Eyes as you perceive him from the G.I. Joe cartoon or even the previous G.I. Joe movies, you're not going to get that. Much like Suicide Squad did with the Joker, They advertised it, and then you got about 10 minutes of actual Snake Eyes. Most of it is him just as Henry Golding, not black suit, visor, Snake Eyes as we know him. And just really disappointing all the way around. They do try to tie in some of the Cobra and G.I. Joe. Scarlet is in there, which that felt really forced, and I really feel like the only reason that they kind of put Scarlet in there is if you have ever read any of the comics or watched any of the actual cartoons. Snake Eyes has always kind of had a kind of like a love interest, not necessarily a full-blown relationship, but Scarlet's always kind of been the love interest of Snake Eyes. And that's kind of why they put that in there. And then there's a little bit of a touch with, Baroness and the preception of Cobra, but it's not a G.I. Joe versus Cobra type movie. And as far as an origin story goes, I mean, it's a good enough origin story, but Snake Eyes from the comics already had a really good origin story that they could have used, should have used, and would have opened the door to a much broader and better G.I. Joe franchise moving forward. But we didn't get that. And again, not taking anything away from Henry Golding and not trying to, I don't know, I'm sure that they were trying, look, when you think of Snake Eyes and you think of a ninja, yes, you're going to think of an Asian character, and that's fine. Most people would perceive it that way. But if you read the comics, Snake Eyes he's American, blonde hair, blue eyes. And that's just the way it was. And that's, what they should have stayed with. I want movies to stay to the source material in some cases. And what sucks about that too is that we already had a really good Snake Eyes in Ray Park, who did Snake Eyes in the previous 2 G.I. Joe films. He's also been Darth Maul. He's also been Toad from X-Men. So Ray Park is a very established martial artist. I believe he's done Wing Chun. He does Wushu. Very good at what he does. And he could have continued to play Snake Eyes. We already had a good Snake Eyes. We already had a good suit. And they already touched on a closer conception of Snake Eyes' origin story in G.I. Joe Retaliation from 2013. But to get a better idea of the Snake Eyes that I think a lot of people wanted to see, let's take a look at that. So if you want to dive into the history of Snake Eyes, it starts all the way back with Marvel Comics, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue number 1 back in 1982. And it was written and drawn by Larry Hama. And Snake Eyes, Stalker, and Storm Shadow all served together during the Vietnam War and on a particular mission with the North Vietnamese People's Army. They were under fire and resulted in the death of a few of the other people in their unit. So when the helicopter arrived to pick up the surviving members, the Vietnamese opened fire and severely injured Snake Eyes, and despite a direct order from Stalker to leave him, Storm Shadow went back to get Snake Eyes and was able to get him aboard the helicopter safely. And upon returning home, now this is where Snake Eyes' origin story really starts. Upon returning home, he met with Colonel Hawk, not yet General Hawk, who informed him that his family had been killed in a car accident. And the car accident involved the brother of the man who would eventually become Cobra Commander. So Cobra Commander partially blames Snake Eyes' family for his brother's death and therefore sets out to seek revenge. But devastated by it, Snake Eyes accepts an offer to study the ninja arts with Storm Shadow's family and the Arashikaji clan. And over time, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes become what's referred to as sword brothers. And they also become unintentional rivals for the attention of Storm Shadow's uncle, who is the Hardmaster of the clan. And during one of Snake Eyes' training sessions, the Hardmaster expressed his desire to have Snake Eyes take over the leadership of the clan instead of Storm Shadow. And that's where Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes begin their riff. Snake Eyes refuses this, but at the time, Cobra Commander had already hired Zartan to avenge the death of his brother, but Zartan mistakenly killed the head Hardmaster instead of Snake Eyes. And he did that by using his arrow that he stole from Storm Shadow. So Snake Eyes thinks Storm Shadow did it. And with Storm Shadow believed responsible for the death of the Hardmaster, the Arashikage Ninja Clan dissolves and Snake Eyes returns to America, where he takes up residence in the High Sierra Mountains and is eventually recruited by G.I. Joe and is a part of the G.I. Joe team with Colonel Hawk and Stalker. So there's a lot to unpack with that, and I'm already more interested in the 1982 comic than I am in the 2021 film. Again, he already had a good origin story that could have done really well, I think. I think, that was really good start. They did touch on it a lot in G.I. Joe Retaliation, but it was the difference in Retaliation, the film versus the comic, is that in the comic, obviously, when you start the comic, Storm Shadow, Stalker, and Snake Eyes are already in a group, in the war, in a firefight. They're already with each other. And it's not until coming home and learning of his family's death that he joins Storm Shadow and the Arashikage clan and starts learning ninjutsu and martial arts. Now, in G.I. Joe Retaliation, he's basically an orphan child, I believe, and kind of as a child works his way into the Arashikage clan and becomes sword brothers with Storm Shadow over the course of their adolescence and then moving into adulthood. And again, in the comic, the Hardmaster being murdered by Zartan using an arrow from Storm Shadow, that creates the rift between the Storm Shadow and rivalry between him and Snake Eyes. And Snake Eyes as a character is probably the most beloved G.I. Joe character that there is. He's pretty much been in every written and cartoon iteration of G.I. Joe. Every comic, every cartoon, every movie, Snake Eyes is there. You can't have G.I. Joe without Snake Eyes. But, being in the Sierra Mountains, he gets found by Colonel Hawk and Stalker, and becomes a G.I. Joe that way. At this point in time, though, he's still not black-suited Snake Eyes. He hasn't been injured yet. So, let's take a look at that real quick. So during one of the team's first missions in the Middle East, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Rocket Roll, and Grunt are sent to save a gentleman by the name of George Strawhacker from Cobra. And on the way, their helicopter collides with another one in midair, forcing the Joes to bail out. And when Scarlet is trapped in the burning helicopter, Snake Eyes stays behind to try and save her, but a window explodes in his face, horribly disfiguring his face and scarring him and damaging his vocal cords. Despite the injuries, Snake Eyes convinces Hawk to let him continue the mission. Now, Strawhacker, who was once engaged to Snake Eyes' sister, never actually finds out or learns the identity of Snake Eyes, the guy that actually saved him during the mission. And it's finally at that point, when they do finally get back from that mission, Snake Eyes, horribly disfigured, can't talk. That's when he dons the black suit, the visor, and never speaks again. He can't. According to the lore, they did do some plastic surgery to help fix his face, but could never fix his vocal cords. So Snake Eyes has always been a very deadly but silent character. Silent but deadly, SPD. And that's just the way it is. But he was originally in the comics as blonde hair, blue eyes guy, not an Oriental. And it's one of those things. It's a good origin story. I wish that they would have stuck with that, gone with that. And again, not to take anything away from Henry Golding, I think he's a really good actor. I think he's more suave than Snake Eyes. He's more sophisticated than Snake Eyes. I could see Henry Golding being not necessarily James Bond, but a Bond-like character, even a Bond villain for that matter. But he's I want to see him in a tux. I want to see him being eloquent and talking intelligently. I don't want to see him wielding a sword. He's above that as an actor to me. So, but I don't want to take anything away from the effort that he put into the movie. But unfortunately, Hollywood just has not been able to hit G.I. Joe movies at all. I mean, all of the characters that were cast in the previous movies they've just missed the mark. I want a real Cobra Commander. Channing Tatum is not Duke. Marlon Wayans is not Ripcord. And The Rock is not Roadblock in any way, shape, or form. I mean, a lot of those guys, the only one they got right was when they hired Dennis Quaid to play General Hawk. It was the only one that they got right. Everybody else was off the mark big time. And here's the thing with the whole Snake Eyes movie that came out. It's really interesting. A little factoid that I found, but it was like 60% of the moviegoers that went to the movie over the weekend were male. And like 50% of those males were like under the age of 25. So I don't think those people were going to see Snake Eyes because they thought the first two G.I. Joe movies were good. They probably went to see Snake Eyes because G.I. Joe has had such a far reach for so long that even if you watch the original cartoons, dude, I'm almost 40. I have them on DVD. I got them on my Tubi app. I still watch them on a regular basis. I still have the 1987 Hasbro animated version. That's a better G.I. Joe movie than anything they've released, by far. And even had Burgess Meredith and Don Johnson as Falcon, which was another horribly miscast person in the movies. I don't remember the guy's name. He played Flint. No, Don Johnson voiced Flint. No, Don Johnson voiced Falcon. Flint was his brother. Either way, DJ Katarin, I don't remember the guy's last name, but he was Flint in the movie. Anyways, another horrible miscast. All of G.I. Joe movies suck, except for the 1987 animated version. So, again, Henry Golding is not Snake Eyes. The movie did not do well. It's not going to do well. I didn't think it was going to do well. I'm not surprised in any way, shape, or form. Had they stuck to the original, what was already written, I think it would have been a lot better, and I think it would have opened the door to having a better G.I. Joe franchise. And for the love of Pete, if it's a diversity issue that people think is why they hired Henry Golding, there's no need for a diversity issue. G.I. Joe, in its time, yeah, you might be thinking Snake Eyes is blonde hair, blue eyes, and, just a white guy, and it's all about, whitewashing in Hollywood, but it's not. I mean, G.I. Joe is very diverse. They had a lot of characters that you could have hired any number of actors to play one of the diverse characters. Quick Kick is Asian American. There's a number of African American actors. Hell, I would love to see Wesley Snipes as Stalker. Wesley Snipes as Stalker would be money. You could get Ving Rhames to be Roadblock. That would be money. Quick Kick, Asian American. Law, born in El Paso, Texas, Hispanic descent. Spirit, Native American. Not to mention a number of other characters. There's so many G.I. Joe characters, I can't keep them all straight. But I think they were all born in America because they were the real American hero. That was the whole point of the comics. I think the only one that wasn't was Big Ben, and he's from London. But they were all, even though they were all born in America, they were all of different descents. So diversity shouldn't be an issue. There's plenty of diverse characters to pick from. Don't force a diverse actor to be a character that's, not what he's supposed to be. I mean, Storm Shadow's Japanese. Zartan is something. I'm not sure what Zartan is. But he's got a couple of blokes that work for him that are either Australian or English or something crazy. I mean, there's a whole world out there in G.I. Joe to explore. And I think they're really missing the mark with a lot of this stuff. Wesley Snipes is Stalker. That's a good one. That would be a good one. Channing Tatum is Duke. That was garbage. I threw out trash earlier. Did a better job than Channing Tatum as Duke. Hollywood, man. They keep trying to bring back these kick-ass things, toys and cartoons from my childhood, and they just keep trashing it. They keep trashing it and trashing it. And it's only going to get worse. Did you know that there's a movie in the works about the frickin' game Uno? Come on. What in the hell can that possibly be about? Hell, I play Uno with my family. It ain't worth making a movie over that shit. Hollywood's out of ideas and it's getting bad. Anyways, that's my take. Like it, don't like it. Henry Golding. He's not Snake Eyes. The Rock was not Roadblock. Marlon Wayans was not Ripcord. Channing Tatum is not Duke. It's all bull plop, as Homer Simpson would say. It's all bull plop. So, but that's my take. Guys, like, subscribe, and comment to the video. Please share it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you seen Snake Eyes? Did you like it? I'm not a big fan of it. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, I'll keep my background going.